Rock concert movement number 1. The basic head bob. Ready, go.
1:30 on actually not bad Friday afternoon. I think we're going to break our snow-free streak. See, we set a record. Going the most consecutive days without snow. Now, yes, going through the summer season makes the record sound a little more impressive than it is. But we've set now a record between snowfalls. I mean, we're already into December. Now it looks like Sunday. There's a coin flip chance for snow, which just means, again, be ready. If we go more than 2 weeks without any sort of inclement weather in the state, for whatever reason, Iowans forget how to drive. It's like we're not far enough south to not have to deal with those issues, and we're not far enough north where you get 9 months of winter in a year. So this odd temperate zone, at least for now, we're in, allows us these long stretches. And I don't know what it is about our brains, but it takes a good snowfall. That first day, no one remembers how to drive in it. It's Carmageddon on 235. And after 12 to 24 hours, things calm down. And if we get another snow, 3 days later, everything's fine. But if it's 3 weeks later, again, we go through the same process all over. I've never lived anywhere like that. Just strange to me. Anyway, phone number is 244-0077. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com. And on the Twitter box, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. And I don't pip this up. I really do. Like Facebook, I don't know. Just seems like a hot mess. Plus, I'm not interested in stalking any of my former high school classmates. The Twitter, though, short and to the point. I think that's what I appreciate. Plus, you can make fun of Chuck Grassley, who does tweet like an ADHD 12-year-old girl. I could read them out loud. I would not do it justice. If I didn't know, I would assume, if I didn't know better, it was some form of, high art slam poetry involving coffee drinks that I don't know the name of and snapping fingers. It is art. I don't know if it's good, but it is certainly art. So coming up in the show today, literally the GOP is a Mickey Mouse operation these days, and people are losing their jobs to prove it. Best Buy error in your favor? I have a question because I don't know what I would do in this situation. And the latest on the fiscal cliff, I believe the president may be making the number one mistake. We're breaking the number one rule in negotiations. I will explain. First, though, I saw that it's just the most bizarre story I have ever seen in my life. And that is, Dan, are you familiar with these two Australian DJs who made a crank call to the hospital where, what is the official title? The Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, was being treated for extreme morning sickness because she has a royal bun in the oven.
No, I hadn't heard that.
I
also hadn't heard she had a royal bun in the oven, though.
What cave do you live in? I thought you had a wife.
One that does not care about Kate Middleton or anything British or French.
If there is anyone in your household who lacks the Y chromosome, I don't know how you can avoid this news.
She doesn't really care about Kate Middleton.
Oh, you got a good one. Yeah, keep that. Chained in the basement if you have to. Figure out a way.
I've kept it for the last 10 years. I think I'll find a way.
Make it happen. Don't go Newt Gingrich on that one. Kate Middleton, the Duchess of Cambridge, and Harry have a royal bun in the oven, and she is apparently undergoing a severe enough morning sickness that she spent a couple days in the hospital. So
Now, let's be fair, though. With her status, don't you think like a hangnail would probably get overnight intensive care?
Yeah. You would think, though, that would be the kind of thing that they would handle kind of undercover. You have to think they have doctors kind of on staff.
You would think it like a palace somewhere, they would have their own hospital ward.
Yeah. Or at least, I mean, hell,
Air
Force One has a mobile operating room.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the White House has a full-fledged hospital wing or room or something.
Or at least, like the emergency.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a doctor on staff and can fix about anything.
But you'd think this was something that they could take care of in-house, for whatever reason, maybe to seem more like a commoner. She goes to hospital, and these Australian DJs, as part of a goof, call in with what they considered absolutely horrible English accents, portraying themselves as the Queen and Prince Charles, looking to get information. And lo and behold, and you would think, again, they would have some sort of strategy for dealing with this. They get through. And a nurse ended up, oh, yeah, she's dehydrated, feeling better. Basically gave out her medical information over the phone. And next thing you know,
Can we say fired?
Well, no, actually, because it's far worse.
Okay.
Because we learned today that the nurse, 46-year-old Jacinda Saldana, committed suicide yesterday.
Ouch.
Because she connected a phone call. Apparently, I don't know, the receptionist was taking 15 and a nurse was answering phones at King Edward VII Hospital. And, the radio station was forced to apologize for what was a typical, morning radio kind of stunt. I don't know if they have shock jocks in Australia. They just do it upside down or something. But, yeah, you would have figured, someone's fired or whatever to, appease. But apparently, everyone was cool with it. Accidents happen. No one, from the monarchy was upset that this happened. According to the hospital, everyone was very supportive. But, this is one of those things where I can't step out, even in situations I don't approve of or condone. You try to understand, right? You try to maybe take a step back and put yourself in their position. I can't do it on this one. I know we have Anglophiles in this country, and I'm old enough to remember the Charles and Diana wedding. And all, 36 hours or whatever carried on television, and people were glued to their TV, and anything, Princess Diana did would be headline news. And when she died, it was, people were in this country, right? We shot people.
Weeping.
Yeah, we did everything in our power. We tossed goods into bodies of water. We shot people and attacked them with axes to run the monarchy out of this country. We don't want no stinking kings. No queens. No princesses that don't come under the Disney brand. But yeah, people were just losing their minds.
And even Disney princesses can't be Hispanic.
And if they get a little too dark, that probably hurts sales.
Well, no, they got the black princess from the frog one. She was a Cajun princess.
Cajun princess.
Yeah, I can't remember. Can't remember what it was. They've got a black one now. Yeah, we're really just missing. They just hate Hispanics.
Again, now thanks to corporate mergers, the only Disney princess I care about is Leia. Everyone else, I don't have any young children that force me to watch these horrible movies on repeat all day. Watch it again, watch it again, watch it again. I don't know if there's a way to teach like a 2-month-old to read But just to save my own sanity, I'm going to have to remove TVs from the there's going to be like one hidden, put it in the closet or in an underwear drawer because kids never find anything there. One TV so I can get like my Battlestar Galactica or, Breaking Bad fix. Everything else is going to have to be hidden. I just don't know how people put themselves up with that. But neither here nor there. I just try to imagine being so... Like, I failed the queen. I must off myself. So we can confirm that Jacinda was recently the victim of a hoax called the hospital. The hospital has been supporting her in this difficult time. She worked at the hospital for more than 4 years, was an excellent nurse and a well-respected and popular member of staff and her colleagues. But here you go, middle-aged woman. Over a phone call that no one, outside of strange people on the internet, really seemed that upset about. But it's like top news here in America. I called the lady friend this morning. It's like the first thing she says to me, like, did you read about that? No. Which, again, in order to maintain relationships, sometimes you have to indulge in some...
You're talking to the guy that's all Twilight.
All right, you know what it's like then. Sometimes you just gotta bite. There's no getting them to watch. Like, I'm still months later trying to get her to watch The Dark Knight Rises.
All right? Yeah, see, again,
but I can tell you all about the X Factor.
This is where I win because guess what? My wife is excited to watch with me tonight.
Oh, did you get the DVD?
Yeah, we're gonna go pick up the DVD this afternoon.
But I've been trying now for months. Not that I would ever illegally acquire movies or recordings because that's wrong. But I've been trying forever. So some point this weekend, I think I'm finally going to get. But I know far more than I really care to about like the teen moms on MTV. Like, it really should be called, Bad Decisions, the television series. I think just sticking with Teen Mom 2 is a little limiting. I know far too much about the lives of people on like The Secret Life of an American Teenager. All right, but if you want to watch a ball game, oh boy, be prepared to pay for it later. Still haven't been able to watch The Dark Knight Rises at home, and I'm going to rectify that situation. So I read the story. It blew my mind. It was that crazy. Like, that mindset. I can't empathize with it because I can't put myself in that place. Like, to hold this group of monarchs in such regard that, I thought that sort of thing went out of style with the samurai. I have displeased you, my lord. Time for, ritual disembowelment. Over a prank phone call. Literally, what do you say about... yes, it's obviously sad the woman felt compelled to do this. I don't know, am I a bad person for like? I hope there were mitigating circumstances. Because if this was all it took to go from, all to nothing, that's probably scarier. I don't want to be insensitive about someone dying, but that's the reason you punched your own ticket? All right, let's get into happier Mickey Mouse news about the GOP stupidity. And this when it comes to copyright laws. And again, as technology kind of moves faster than society, and certainly faster than big business. You blink and Napster all of a sudden has decimated the music industry. You go make a sandwich, you come back, and all of a sudden, BitTorrent is destroying the DVD industry. And as lawmakers kind of rush to keep up at the behest of their corporate masters, occasionally, again, the trains come uncoupled. The bus schedule gets a little out of whack. Or in this case, actual proponents of the free market get in the way of their corporate masters, and we see where priorities actually lay. And this goes back to November 16th. The Republican Study Committee, this is the conservative caucus in the House of Representatives, published a paper on their website asking about copyright laws and how we, the Republican caucus, defenders of the free market, maybe abandon those principles. The paper said that the current copyright system is corporate welfare that hurts innovation and hurts the consumer. It's a system that picks winners and losers are new industries that could generate new wealth and add value. Right? This is kind of one of those kind of base Republican points. Government should not be picking winners and losers. So the paper proposed lighter punishments for copyright infringement and shorter terms for copyright. Law as it stands now, written works are copyright for 75 years after the author's death. And one of the prime forces behind this is Disney. And whenever Mickey Mouse, who's 90 years old at this point, comes close to entering the public domain, that his works, copyright, trademark, has expired, so anyone's free to use. Anytime Mickey Mouse would come near that boundary, magically copyright would be extended. Same thing with the music industry. Again, who's never figured out a way to sell CDs to people over the age of 25 and really relies on selling you your old music collection again in a new format, but digital seems to have wiped that out. So blame Steve Jobs. One example that doesn't get talked about, cell phones. And, whether it's Samsung, Apple, LG, the patent and trademark wars. In fact, entire industries have popped up. Patent trolling, which is these companies exist for no other reason than to issue patents, which you can then sue other companies for in hopes that they settle. And that's what the company does. They don't make widgets. They don't actually produce any product. And in some cases, you're talking patents as vague as, putting computer data on a screen. Well, now you can sue Microsoft, Apple, every component maker, you name it. And odds are they're going to settle for a decent amount because you don't want to lose one of these, like Samsung's, billion-dollar Apple failure. And it stifles, if you wanted to start up, if you had a great idea to make a better cell phone, right, than a Galaxy 3 or an iPhone, there's simply no way to do it. There's no way you're going to, get permission from Apple or Samsung to break, their stranglehold. You can't get a hold of the technology. You can be sued for if your product, has rounded edges. So this was simply a paper put out by, friends of like the very libertarian, Cato Institute, some of these right-wing think tanks. So this paper shows up on a Friday. I don't know about you. I spend a good chunk. It's Friday. I get to the Republican Study Committee because I have to know what is going on. By Saturday afternoon, the memo and paper had been pulled from the website, officially retracted. According to folks with the RNC, it was Representative Marcia Blackburn, whose district is right next to Nashville, Tennessee, and they have a little bit of the content creation industry there. Blackburn also received more money from the music industry than any Republican congressional candidate. But not only did they pull the paper, officially rescind it, Derek Khanna is a 24-year-old staffer, was fired because, well, he wrote the memo. So literally, Republicans are running a Mickey Mouse operation now. And this even made the Washington Examiner, which is pretty right-wing. But again, it's funny to see what happens when these professed ideals, right, of the Republican Party butt up against reality. And that is, they, like most elected officials, are deeply beholden to these large corporate interests. And if you dare offend your corporate masters, well, swift destruction can come. Luckily, I guess the good news is this Derek Khanna character doesn't hold Walt Disney in the same regard as some do the royal family. So I guess we can look on the upside there. Jerry Brito is a scholar at the Mercatus Center and is holding a panel at the Cato Institute to discuss his book, Copyright Unbalanced, From Incentive to Excess. And one of the major features of his book is the Mickey Mouse. Is every time the copyright was about to expire and the happy rodent was about to become a shared cultural icon like Santa Claus, Hamlet, and Uncle Sam, Congress has extended the copyright term. This is not what the founders had in mind when they authorized Congress to promote the progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. And now, forget what the definition of is. Define limited. 75 years after the death of the author. And don't kid yourself, the next time that Mickey Mouse, or was it Mortimer Mouse, was the transitional fossil?
Don't know.
Well, there were characters like before Mickey that kind of evolved into that character. But you can bet your sweet Bippy that next time that he's up against that limit. I mean, until major financial overhaul hits Congress, Mickey Mouse will never enter public domain. It just simply won't happen. And part of it is, again, this party that advocates for free markets, turns out, just goes and does the bidding of their corporate masters. Shocked, I tell you. It is interesting how even just violating that basic tenet of conservatism is enough to cost you your job. So I guess the lesson, the takeaway here for our conservative friends is never ask Republicans to actually, hold up and act on their principles or even their talking point style slogans. There will be swift and final retribution. It will cost you your job. All right. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com. On the Twitter, twitter.com/radiobradshaw. Just go to thebradshawshow.com for, as it says on the screen, almost all of your Bradshaw needs. If there are needs at that website, I don't want to hear about them. Seriously, keep it on your /fiction forum or whatever. Not my business. I don't want to know. Don't inflict them upon me. For everything else, though, thebradshawshow.com has all the contact info, show archives, you name it. It is all there, ready for your consumption. Although, do we need to check the copyright on some of these things?
On what, Bradshaw show?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just going to start inserting Mickey Mouse into things and see if Disney will sue me.
You gotta quit saying that. Okay, we're gonna get sued because you're talking about Mickey Mouse.
I know how many uses.
We know the fun folks at Disney have a good sense of humor.
Oh, yes. They're not litigious at all. All right. When we come back, the big story out of Michigan today. Republicans making hay in a lame duck session. In this case, the right to work, which I've been asking for years what I get from right to work. Like, what's in it for me? I have yet to get a good answer. I don't even think I've gotten any bad answers. But Michiganders, is that the official? Are about to get hit from the right. And really, it is almost a how-to on how to screw people. I mean, the machinations behind getting this done are something to behold. So we'll talk about that when we come back right here on The Bradshaw Show, thebradshawshow.com on Webcast One Live. Thanks for watching. Back right after this.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
The point is, we are free now to do what we could never do before, and that is love and obey Christ and answer to Him, our Savior, rather than answer to someone else on this earth who sets Him up as your authority. You and I answer to Christ.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
If Tom Coates from Consumer Credit of America was your personal webmaster, Tom would filter out all bad debt emails. If Tom was your mailman, you'd never get any debt reduction junk mail. If Tom Coates was a lineman, he'd block any phone calls offering to reduce your credit card debt.
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America, and we're still your best choice for credit counseling. We're local, we're accountable, and we can do more. You make the call when the time's right for you.
When it comes to competition, there really is none for Consumer Credit of America.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Rock concert movement.
Now I'm on.
One.
How do I get off center?
The basic head bob. Ready, go.
I like that, Abraham. I'm old. I defend the biblical definition of marriage, and that's between one man, one woman, and his many concubines. Abraham, show us the way. Oh, I'm sorry. We redefined it out of that.
I'm not trying to say that polygamist is wrong.
No. Not married concubines.
Whatever.
That just the hit it and quit it variety.
Actually, though, whenever concubines are mentioned in the Bible, and if you look into the Greek, you'll see that it's not a positive thing. Like, it's not a good word for that.
They were fine. It was fine for Abraham.
Well,
he seemed okay with it.
He might have been okay with it, but God wasn't. So it wasn't like the purpose of their presence in the story wasn't because it was good or righteous. This is showing that even Abraham, who was counted as righteous,
exactly. So you can do it and still be righteous.
Well, only through the blood of Jesus Christ.
So, who wasn't around?
Well, but see,
but Abraham was righteous in his time.
No, Abraham was righteous because of the imputed righteousness of Christ that had yet to come. See, God doesn't work in time, so we don't have
like a rain check or something to be.
Well, that's why they had that's why they had animal sacrifices at that point. Was to represent what Christ was going to do when he came. All of the Old Testament was looking for a Messiah. Even the Jews today would tell you that at some point the entire Jewish faith was looking for a Messiah. Now, some of those people have come to realize he's come. We call those Messianic Jews. Some of those
the Jews for Jesus.
Yeah, some of those we no longer think there's any Messiah coming. They've misunderstood for thousands of years. Those are your like Orthodox and Hasidics and those. Well, no, Hasidics are still waiting for Messiah. So we got.
Which is the group that's trying to actually breed a red heifer to bring on the end times?
I don't know, but I mean, I don't.
I know there's a guy in Nebraska who's like turned over his cattle operation.
I saw that documentary too.
A red heifer.
I mean, they also got people that are trying to strain camels through the eyes of the needle, or at least Will Ferrell makes jokes about it.
When you get one of those ninja blenders,
yeah,
you'd need a really big one, and sort of funnel with a really small.
In all reality, if we're talking blenders here, now the Vitamix is the one that can pulverize the seed of a avocado, so I'm sure Camel would be no problem.
I think it would ruin the texture and flavor.
Actually, it turns it to flour, or like a flour.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Actually, they have a heat feature. You can make homemade soup in those things. They're amazing. I almost opened a smoothie store, so we had to do a lot of blender research.
Why didn't you open a smoothie store?
You know what?
Less hygienic than hair?
We already had. I was going to open it on top of it. It was going to be called Smoothie Criminal, and
it'd probably be the Alien Ant Farm version.
Probably that's what I was thinking, but it was. It just didn't work out. I still.
You don't say.
I still have an espresso machine in my basement though, and I sold the ice cream machine not too long ago.
You don't say. Smoothie Criminal didn't work out.
See, I think the idea is genius.
I'm shocked.
It would be great. We had a monkey that was all freaky looking. It was awesome.
In a world where you can have a Starbucks down the block from a Starbucks, sky's the limit.
Yeah, well, that's actually why we didn't. Is Starbucks started carrying smoothies, and we were watching one of the smoothie stores that was open here in town, and their business dropped like a hawk. And we said, you know what? I don't want to compete with Starbucks.
I did see for sale. I guess the gift for that person that has everything but sense. You can buy a $400 Starbucks gift card, and it's like stainless steel, and it's like a limited edition. So, in this $400 gift card will only set you back $450.
Come again?
Not if you're going to charge me $50 for a gift card. I'm not.
It's $50 for a gift.
It's a $400 gift card you can buy for $450 to Starbucks.
What was it? The Jordan Creek Mall tried to do that. We bought gift cards for our employees there, and they charged me like $3 a piece for them a couple years ago, and we've never gone back because of that.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, it's one thing I get. Like, if you go to like a Walgreens now, you can buy a gift card for anything. You want Chili's or Walls or even stuff we don't even have in Iowa because they get a kickback from that. But yeah, I mean some of those like a gift certificate, right? It's It's supposed to be good for a business because it's a banked sale already. You get the money before making the sale. Most businesses would take that deal, but I guess they figured out, because it seems everyone and their mother is doing it now, add $5-10 to the price, or add a set percentage as just free money, and people will take it. Please charge me $55 for $50 worth of goods. This sounds like a good deal to me. I went to public school. I have the typical math skills of an American. Heyo. But yes, you can buy a $400 Starbucks limited edition gift card for the low price of $450. And they say they hate us because of our freedom. Anyway, it's 2:05. Email me, radiobradshaw@gmail.com, and follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Radio Bradshaw. Gino drops me an email. Only in America. In England, a nurse kills herself over an honest mistake. In the U.S., we take photos of a man about to die rather than offer aid. American exceptionalism. I don't know if both of those are good examples. Are you familiar with this guy? I don't know whether it was mentally disturbed or if it was an actual scuffle. But as many of us who has traveled to New York, who have mothers have heard, it's a dangerous city and someone's going to shove you in front of a subway train. Well, someone actually did that. And it turns out, not only did someone stop to photograph the event, and I think it was the New York Post, put it on the cover. Hey, everyone. But it turns out that they didn't just toss him down there just in front of a train. Apparently he was down there for a minute to 90 seconds. And no one in the entire train station said, hey, this looks not right. I should probably pull this guy out of the train well. If you've never been to a large city with public transportation, a subway system is an elevated platform, right? And down in the train pulls up, and lo and behold, the elevated platform is the same level as the doors on the train. It's a magic combination. For whatever reason, that some municipalities don't quite understand exactly. They come close. But you don't go in that rail. You're going to be hit by a train, or you're going to touch the third rail. That's the one with electricity. It's going to fry you like one of those hot dogs on Mr. Wizard.
So did this guy die?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He was down there for 90 seconds and nobody bothered to get him out?
No one bothered to pick him up. And, this is like one of those Kitty Genovese stories. The bystander effect. But we all like to think we would be the hero, but for most of us, our brains are not wired that way. Not because we're indifferent
I freeze.
To the suffering. Most people do.
I had to train, in boxing, I had to train myself not to freeze because it was a problem because somebody hit me and it was over.
It's a well-known phenomenon, but if something is so out of the norm, absurd, our brains don't handle it the same way we would handle, say, ordering a Starbucks drink. And the typical human response is freeze. Stop. Process, and not very quickly. So, yeah, the guy was, I don't know whether he was asking for directions, but apparently this dude just went off, shoved a guy into the well there, and the photo is this trains pulling into the station, headed towards this guy who couldn't pull himself out. All right, 244-0077. All are welcome. Some are capable. Email radiobradshaw@gmail.com and on the Twitter @radiobradshaw. So yesterday, we saw, the id of the modern day Republican Party, at least in Michigan, led by Governor Rick Snyder, who had said repeatedly, now I understand it's election season, maybe in a blue state like his, this was pandering, but the governor of Michigan has said that right to work wasn't on his agenda. They didn't want to go through the same squabbles that had affected Ohio or Wisconsin. The reality, he's not, you can look at a John Kasich in Ohio and go, swing state. But then you look at Michigan, not a swing state, no matter what Dick Morris says. A state that is greatly aided by the American auto industry, which is a strong union component. I think people may misunderstand the percentage of workers that are in unions. You're talking, 15 to 17%. Even in a state like Michigan, a big union state. But yesterday, Republicans come back in a lame duck session in their state house and their state senate, and immediately just, oh, by the way, we're going to do right to work today. Thanks for coming. We'll catch you all on the flip side. They go through to avoid having to go through that messy, public discussion period or debate. They end up, just yanking the language out of some bill, putting in the right to work language and moving forward. And just to make it more fun, they added appropriations to the bill so that it can't be put for referendum. So not only do the people of Michigan not get a say before or during, thanks to legalese, they don't get a say on the issue afterward. And from the sounds of it, in spite of, again, Michigan Republicans saying repeatedly, not on our plan, not on our schedule, not on our agenda, the issue is too divisive, we're just going to leave it be. Turns out some AstroTurf groups like Americans for Prosperity had, for whatever reason, magically decided to rent out the Capitol grounds for their own use December 6th. And it turns out that this was a sneak attack all along. I mean, I guess kudos on them for having the political sense to not do it on December 7th. Because Friday is typically when you would do something like this because people are off doing other things on Friday. No one reads the Saturday paper, et cetera, et cetera. I guess the December 7th
they have a paper on Saturdays.
Was a little too dicey. They're not that tone deaf for a sneak attack on December 7th. But now, after saying for months it's not on his agenda, Snyder says he will pass the bill. He will sign it after the 5 days pass. So on Tuesday, it looks like that right to work will come to Michigan. I've been at, again, for years, Iowa's a right to work state. And I've asked for years, what do I get out of the deal? Because I don't buy the free association argument for a couple of reasons. One, you're certainly free not to work somewhere that is a closed shop, if that sort of thing offends you. And two, workers have always had and use the ability to decertify their unions. They can dissolve them if they see fit. All this does is allow mooching and free riders. By law, I am filing a grievance at my workplace, but I am not a union member. However, the union has to defend me. I get all the benefits of the union. And I don't have to pay anything. I'm a mooch. I am a free rider. And I understand the real goal behind the anti-union legislation in Wisconsin or Ohio or Indiana and Michigan. Aside from being something that some businesses want, the main motivation is defunding the left. The heart and soul of this is remove, deflate, remove the influence of a major part of democratic infrastructure. And I heard Huckabee today lying about, if they just wouldn't use all their money and all those dues to fund Democrats, maybe this wouldn't have happened. And while I appreciate, I think, unintended honesty there, at least he's going to openly say, yes, it's about the political contributions. Fact is, you can't use dues for political purposes. You have to pass the hat. They hold votes on these things. They don't just, let me twirl my black mustache and double check on the damsel in distress I have tied to the railroad tracks and give money to the evil socialist and anti-colonialist Democrats. But in saying that he would sign the bill, that, again, no one gets any say beforehand, no one gets any say during, and no one gets any say afterwards. One of the alibis offered by Governor Snyder was that, Indiana passed right to work, and we've had some businesses relocate. And let's just, follow that logic to its natural conclusion. And that is the race to the bottom. There's kids in sweatshops in Bangladesh, slapping together Nikes for $1 a day, and we're going to lose jobs to Bangladesh, so let's race to the bottom. We're seeing that here in Iowa. Now, what's the number one resource we have here? It's our environment. It really is. Everything, from air quality to soil quality and quantity, water quality. I mean, that's where our bread is truly buttered. But in an effort to appease the short-sightedness of Big Ag. Again, I warned you this was going to happen when Branstad was reelected. It might as well been the Branstad administration, brought to you by Farm Bureau. But in an effort to be, short-sighted, or maybe it's a little bit of FYIGM, because, hey, what does it affect Iowa if there's a large dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico? Thanks to our nutrient runoff. And I'm still waiting for a good definition of when it turns from poop to nutrient. If I put a large flaming bag of nutrient on your doorstep, am I doing you a favor or pulling a prank? And at what point does it turn into nutrient? Is there a magic wand that happens? Like, alakazam. Now it's safe to put it, like, if I put nutrient in a glass of water on your desk, you're probably going to punch me. But if I put it in your drinking water, then we're okay. As long as it gets into the water before it leaves the tap. And these are all just issues that I'd like to know more about, or be offered a good explanation. But this race to the bottom, like if we don't gut our environmental rules, well, some other state will, and someone might take their farm to Mississippi. Truth of the matter is, I don't know, if only we had some sort of mechanism where people could say, cast a vote on which system they would prefer to see government undertake. We should do something like that. Every 2 to 4 years, have a big one.
Now you're just talking like a crazy man.
I know. I'm just right on out there. But to do that in a blue
I mean, that's
state,
almost like a power to the people type thing.
I know. We can't have that.
No, let's not do that.
Unwashed masses.
We are not smart enough as a people.
Rubes. As long as we're not voting out other people's civil rights, we, maybe just...
I don't even know about it because I'm not smart enough to know about any of that because I'm not smart enough to be able to vote.
I just figured it was because of a felony conviction.
No.
Shows what I know. But things are going to get pretty ugly in Michigan. But hopefully the lesson here, and one we've sort of picked up in Iowa, because you look at the tomfoolery and the overreach in Michigan and Indiana, and Wisconsin, was the big attention getter. The only reason that we here in Iowa are not like that is Mike Grunstall and his ability to keep state Senate Democrats in line. I think our friends on the right, and I'm not talking about the gold peddlers, the grifters, the guys who actually run political parties for reasons other than promoting Ron Paul, the folks actually charged with getting elected or putting together an agenda, understand their time in the light is getting shorter as more Americans move away from their particular brand of FYIGM. I told you yesterday, just since the election, you've seen a 5% decrease in the number of self-identified Republicans and a 5%, by the way, increase in self-described Democrats. Although I'm sure some conservative is going to come along and unskew that one any day now. Of course, that is the same poll that shows 25% of Republicans are absolutely okay with secession, because that worked out well last time. But it's get while the getting is good. I don't think it's a happy coincidence, a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say, that this happens in a lame duck session immediately after election, hoping that, like on most issues, Americans have the electoral memory of a goldfish. It's not even what have you done for me lately. What have you done for me in the last 60 to 90 minutes? Because anything past that has already been replaced with sports scores, celebrity gossip, Teen Mom 2 highlights. And we are bad at this. And I say this, collective as the people. Democrats certainly very quickly forgot the lessons learned in 2008. And what was going to be a throw the bums out election anyway was made even worse by inattentiveness, by apathy. We took our eye off the ball, and not only do we pay for it in the 2010 midterms, we are going to continue paying for the next decade, as 2010 gave Republicans the lead when it came to most states redistricting. And most states aren't as good about it as Iowa. It is a highly partisan process. And again, this isn't, poo-pooing, this isn't condoning, it simply and is. It only makes sense that a political party is going to make hay. You're giving us the ability to rewrite maps? Well, we're probably going to rewrite them in our own favor. This is how you lead to, the 2012 elections when Democrats get 1 million more votes combined for the House of Representatives nationwide and still can't take control of the House. And you see blue states where Republicans, have 60% of the state house. That's the power of redistricting. That's the price we paid and are going to keep paying for taking our eye off the ball in 2010. And again, that starts with, I guess, President Obama, and filters all the way down to those of us on the bottom. State parties, you name it. We dropped the ball. We quickly forgot the lessons of 2008, even 2006. Now, in 2006, we benefited from the throw the bums out election because Republicans had a lot more bums than we did. In 2010, after two wave elections, they had a lot fewer bums to throw out. We could have lessened the fallout from that. We didn't, and we're going to pay the price. And part of that is at the state, county, the lower levels. Again, it's really excited to put a Obama bumper sticker on your car. How many people even know who their state rep is? Or how many people, when I went to the ballot box, state representative, I only had one up. There was only a Republican running. You don't even run the risk of, someone Todd Akening themselves. There is no other option. Unless you write in Clark Kent, but I've never seen his long-form birth certificate, so I think there may be some questions about eligibility there. But, man, thank Marx, thank Hades. I don't know, what do the Republicans hate on any... Thank minorities that we elected a Democratic majority in the Senate, because that is the only thing that keeps the kooks in line at the State House. Or we would see the same flood of far-right extremist crap come through our gates. You think Branstad would stand up to them? You don't think the kooks would gain influence in the House or the State House? If Republicans had, you'd see, huge tax cuts, further gutting environmental regulations, even to the point where we're now being threatened with an EPA takeover because we're not taking care of our water supply. Things would be far worse in this state. And we've seen how Branstad runs, ag. We've seen how he runs a board of regents. The entire state would be run that way if we didn't have a Democratic state Senate. Thank you, Mike Ronstall. Real quick before we go with more talk of fiscal cliffs. The deficit is such, again, a dangerous... Oh, it's a Starbucks card. Little late. Yeah,
I've been waiting for a break to show you.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted
to put it up.
I wanted to bring it on your thing.
But anyway, the fiscal cliff and the debt and the deficit is such a threat that we can't go over the fiscal cliff, which would cut the debt and the deficit. Got that? Good. We may be running into a situation where Barack Obama is making the number one mistake you can make in negotiations. No, that's not settling too early, or I don't know, what are some of the common mistakes made? Negotiating against yourself.
Cutting your prices.
That can sometimes be a good idea.
Yeah, well,
but the number one rule...
It's negotiating against yourself.
Do you know what the number one rule of negotiations is?
What's that?
Negotiate with someone who has the power to cut a deal.
Sure.
Otherwise, it's waste of time. You're showing your cards. You name it. It's the number one rule of negotiations. Only negotiate with someone who has the ability to say yes and follow through. And it looks like the president may be set to make that same mistake again after House Speaker John Boehner made a request to the president asking that further negotiations to avert the fiscal cliff be limited to just the two of them. That means no Mitch McConnell, no Grover Norquist, no Nancy Pelosi. It's just the two of them. Now, I can understand wanting to keep Mitch McConnell out. If you're like me and spent a lot of quality time watching C-SPAN, you would have missed. I don't know if this is unprecedented, but yesterday, Mitch McConnell actually had to filibuster his own bill. You know, occasionally parties will try to trap the other party into making a stand. Maybe they would prefer to be silent on, or to pass a poison pill. But no, Mitch McConnell offered a bill that would basically eliminate Congress's role in the debt ceiling, which is probably a smart thing to do anyway, since it's now apparently a valid hostage to take. Why not threaten the full faith and credit of the United States to score political points? Am I right? Now, McConnell was thinking that there's no way Republicans, or no way Democrats would vote for this. Because we've made it such a poisonous issue. And it turns out Harry Reid was about to call his bluff and say, great. So Mitch McConnell objected to a vote on his own bill, claiming that we needed 60 votes to pass it. He filibustered himself. So I can understand keeping Mitch McConnell out of the talks. But considering that John Boehner is already facing upheaval in the House for pulling some wingnuts out of their committee seats, and a base that is absolutely on a rabid rhino hunt, I don't know if John Boehner has the power to actually agree to a deal. I thought this was the lesson we learned in the first debt ceiling negotiation, when the president came with a $4 trillion package, including cuts to Medicare, Social Security, TRICARE, things that would have been very valuable to Republicans this last election cycle. Could have swung the Senate, could have actually gained them some House seats, and certainly would have made the presidential race much different. And the president came hoping to use Republicans as cover for this, because don't kid yourself. If the powers that be had their way, they would be cutting earned benefit programs like Medicare, Social Security. They just need the cover to do it. They're afraid of being attacked on the left. So in an effort to use Republicans as cover, here's the offer the president came with. I mean, it would have been a silver dagger to hand the Republicans to stab you with come November. And John Boehner couldn't say yes. He couldn't get it past the jihadists in the House of Representatives. So we'll see if anything comes to this. I say absolutely. Let's go over if Republicans want to hold this thing up, let them. They voted for the sequestration cuts they're now bashing. Let's hold them, and I know this is never a good thing to do with Republicans, but let's actually hold them to their word. You say you want to cut the deficit, you say you want to cut spending, guess what the fiscal cliff does? So why are you against it? It's almost like their actions don't match their rhetoric. That'd be a horrible thing to point out to the American people. All right. I got to bounce. We'll reconvene on Monday. Email me at radiobradshaw@gmail.com. And stay in touch on the Twitter machine at Radio Bradshaw. Stop by and say hello. And we'll be back Monday at 1:30 here on Webcast One Live. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend and avoid the snow on Sunday. All right. See you then. Bye.